by TKO Beards. My boy, what's his name? Jason?
Jason.
Fucking, I'm an idiot today. Jason. TKO Beards, we've got the beard conditioner. It's leave-in, so you don't have to fucking wash it out. We got the beard wash, beard oil. What else you got? Combs. Fuck.
Yeah, where is that comb?
I don't know.
It's upstairs because I use it every day, Derek. That's
correct. TKO Beard, some of the best beard products I've ever put in my beard. Derek doesn't have one, unfortunately.
Tried to grow
but, we're going to try to put it on his hair to see if we can stimulate some ginger growth from that. But it's TKObeards.com. Use the promo code TheFinalShot, and you'll save some money on your purchase. We're also brought to you by USG Canada, as always. Howie Lee makes some of the best custom fucking fight gear in the business. Gloves, shin guards, MMA gloves, walkout gear, tracksuits, you name it, Howie does it. Hit my boy Howie up at Howie at USGCanada.com. Tell him the bad guy sent you and you'll save some money on your purchase. Who else we got?
We have our sponsor Anna, who's been with us from day one. They're pushing the creatine, which is the next thing to hold up, which our guest of the week mentions how important it is.
Drew Jamieson, yep. Shroom Tech Sport, this one's fucking key.
Absolutely.
Especially with this coronavirus going on.
Boost your immune system.
Boost your immune system with Shroom Tech Sport. It's onit.com/T or the TFS podcast, and you'll save some money on your purchase. We're also brought to you by Sovereign Extracts. Hands down, the best CBD on the market. I don't care what Brennan Schaub says.
Or whoever.
Yeah. Sovereign Extracts makes the best CBD on the market. You get the 1-to-1 CBD to THC tincture. Derek, you always love the tips.
Yeah, for those that don't know, they are the pre-made cartridges. They do come in a really unique cigarette style cartridge with a 510 battery. 510 battery.
Here we go. The box
they're very sexy, very discreet, and very potent. They come in both a CBD and a THC model. Taste one, different flavors: watermelon, mango, spearmint type flavor, and you get the cartridge. So Sovereign Extracts, hit them up. Get your stuff, man. It works and it's legitimate.
Here's the comb.
There's the comb.
Sovereign Extracts, they got a website coming soon too, and I'll be able to give you guys a promo code for that, so you can order direct from Sovereign instead of having to find a retailer. The Clinch Fight Shop in Edmonton, Alberta. Unfortunately, Sunil is shut down right now. So I don't know if you can order online, but you can certainly fucking try.
The website's the website's still active and growing. You can actually still order online. A lot of the product that he does carry is in-house, having a retail shop, so that you don't have to worry about him not having it in stock. Everything that's on the website is in stock and will be shipped out to you.
So clinchfightshop.com. Use the promo code TheBadGuy and you'll save some money on your purchase. Who else?
Who else?
Buckle Down Productions.
I say it wrong. Tell me a little bit about that company. I had their hoodie on.
Buckle Down Apparel is a athletic clothing line, I would guess you would say. They support our buddy Brian Caldwell, so we're supporting them and whatever he's got going on.
Right.
I don't know if the Olympics is a thing for him anymore. I have no idea. Hopefully.
We just wrapped this podcast up with, like you said before, Dr. Drew Jamieson. This is an important podcast. We touch on...
It's very important.
Touch on the coronavirus.
Well, the truth be told, we tried to run these ads last night, and we fucked them up because there's a vacuum or something going on in the background.
Sometimes it just doesn't work, so this is what takes it, yeah.
But as an update for today when we are recording... where we live in Saskatchewan has now been put into an emergency state.
Is that correct?
Along with Alberta and Ontario. So this fucking thing is legit. Like, it's getting to the point where you want to hunker down.
Well, yeah, without scaring people, wherever you're listening to it, Dr. Jamieson does get some really actionable items on what you can do, how to avoid it, some tips on what to do. Yeah, so it's really cool. Great podcast. We talk about a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, well, let's just get to the fucking podcast, Derek.
Do it.
Welcome back to the Final Shot podcast. Today on the show, we're in fucking zombie apocalypse mode over here. We're in the basement, hunkered down with canned goods, 4,000 rolls of toilet paper. Just joking. Listen, motherfuckers, if you're out there and you're fucking loading your trucks up with toilet paper, I'm going to kick your ass. But guys, the coronavirus is happening. So we called Dr. Drew Jamieson, and he's going to fill us in on some shit that we can fucking do. And then we're going to talk about some other stuff too. Dr. Drew, what's up?
Nice. Hey, how's it going, man? Thanks for having me.
No problem. Thank you for coming on. So like I said, coronavirus or COVID-19 is running rampant on all corners of the globe right now.
True.
We
True.
have
It's
Ontario.
pretty wild right now.
We have Ontario right now. That's they're in a emergency state. Alberta just said that they were going emergency state. The schools are closed here in Saskatchewan. They're saying for the rest of the year, all the kids are home. All the gyms are closing. Restaurants are closing. Only delivery. What the fuck is going on?
This is one of the wildest times that I think I've ever experienced. So I just turned 34 last year, and I cannot remember at all anything like this. I've been involved in medicine now for a little over 5 years, and this is just totally crazy. It's really hard to put words to it right now. The amount of obviously panic, hysteria. People are just inundated with information, a lot more than they probably can handle right now. And my biggest role that I can play is just trying to dumb it down to simple terms so people know what's going on, the basic amounts of information they need, what they can do. But what I find is missing is how we can strengthen our systems, boost our immunity, and support that one system that we need to support right now, because they're getting a ton of information, but not a lot of actionable steps. So that's been my big push this last couple of weeks. Obviously, I'm just speaking to what's on everyone's mind. I usually do health tips on various topics every day, but it's all about immunity. It's all about what we can do to strengthen our bodies right now. Support that one system we need now more than ever. And I agree with most of the mass communication going on, but not all of it. And we can touch on that as we go. But yeah, I'm just using my social media platform right now as much as I can, because if you thought people watched a lot of Instagram stories months ago, it's going to be like crazy right now. So that's my number one outlet and option, because everyone's been told to go home, sit at home, and basically Netflix. There's going to be tons of social media usage. So now I realize more than ever is a chance for me to kind of stand up and help as many people as possible and reach as many homes as I can, because I'm seeing it in my practice, right? People are losing their jobs. They're unsure about their income. They may have friends and family that are sick, and they're being told all this data, all this information, but the whole, what can we do about it, I feel has been kind of glossed over. So that's where I come in, and I'm trying to lay down as much knowledge as I have of stuff that works. And yeah, we're getting some pushback, but I'm just soldiering on anyway, man, because someone needs to do it.
Well, when we look at what's happening, we're being told to stay in our homes for an extended period of time. So the first thing that comes to my mind is going to be vitamin D.
Yes, huge concern, right? We're about to come into spring. The sun's coming out, and now people are told to stay inside. And as Canadians, people living north of the 49th parallel, we don't get a lot of sun most of the year. And those few months we do, we're not getting enough chest and back exposure, because without sun, we don't generate vitamin D. And one of the main things, I've been preaching this for years, but obviously this is a high one on the list for boosting your immune system, is you have to test and optimize vitamin D levels. I find that most people I test come back way low because of the Canadian thing. And just if you're north of the equator by a certain amount, you just don't get enough direct sunlight at the end of the day. That is a commander for the immune system, okay? And when people have low vitamin D, you can't fight stuff off as good. It also helps prevent cancer. It's great for your mood, and it builds strong bones. It supports your heart. There's so many things that vitamin D does. The immune system is a big one I'm harping on right now. And it's so cheap. It's so inexpensive from a public health standpoint. Everybody needs to be on the correct dose for them. Mm-hmm. I can't say what it is. There's no blanket dose, but there's ranges based on body weight, and we can get into that if necessary. But this should be high on people's list. What are some things people can start doing? You got to get on the vitamin D train. That's just one big thing I've been harping.
Well, that's one thing. I went and got blood work done not too long ago, and I'm outside a lot. On the weekends, I'm out fiddle-farting around in the fields looking for animals, fishing outside, all that kind of stuff. And they're like, "Well, you're scarcely low on vitamin D." I was like, "Excuse me?"
Yeah, crazy thought, right?
A shit ton. So I just started eating vitamin D like a madman.
Good.
I feel great though.
it makes a huge difference. A lot of people report better sleep, better mood, better energy almost right away. Yeah, it's one of those things too where a lot of people are like, well, it's fat soluble. It can build up to a toxic level in your system. And I'm like, with all the testing and tracking I've been doing, I haven't seen it, man. You'd have to work really goddamn hard to overdose on vitamin D and get it to a toxic level. The body's pretty good at storing it away and balancing it. So yeah, a lot of the kind of cautions and warnings, I just haven't seen anything but really good stuff if you keep a close eye on it.
Okay, so let's say worst case scenario happens and the country goes on lockdown where we're not allowed out of our houses for an extended period of time. What?
Number one thing we can do, and back to your vitamin D thing, is a lot of people have decks. A lot of people have a way to still be in the house but outside. And what people are doing, and I think it's wrong, is they're locking themselves in their house and they're shutting all doors, all windows. Yeah. Open a goddamn window.
Yeah.
Why? So people are worried. People are worried that the coronavirus is going to fly in through the goddamn window, and that's just not going to happen. You need fresh air. The stagnant, stale air of where you're living with a bunch of other people in tight confinement, probably not the best. So open a window, get out on the deck and suntan. If we can learn anything from the people in Italy that are actually on legit lockdown,
yeah,
they're on their balconies, they're singing with each other, they're conversing with each other, they're playing instruments. You got this guy on the trumpet, like, come on. So we could definitely take a page out of their book and open a window, get out on the deck, suntan, do something, man, because without fresh air, like, you can get sick a lot faster, in my opinion.
Well, you're going to be breathing in recirculated farts. Let's be honest.
Well, yeah.
It's true, though. A lot of people in their houses, they got that recirculating air going constantly, right?
So, yeah, but forced air is not great.
No, it's bad for you because you're literally breathing in dead skin cells. All of it. Pet dander, fucking farts.
Yep.
It's all that.
100%.
So
that's all hard on your respiratory system. And what is this virus taking out? The respiratory system. Big time. Big time. So fresh air, man.
So here's what I want to know, because I'm old enough that I remember SARS, H1N1, the swine flu, all that stuff. I remember all of it, but nothing like this has ever happened. And what's going on seems rather mild compared to, let's say, SARS.
Sure. Yeah, from a symptomatic standpoint, the majority of the people that are getting this either don't know they have it, or the symptoms are so mild they just kind of brush it off as, oh, it was just a head cold and that was that. If you're between 10 and 50, the chances of a complication and an issue is like 0.2%. Like, it's very, very low. However, if you have a comorbidity such as asthma, breathing issues, COPD, you're a smoker, maybe high blood pressure, obesity, these people are the ones that are in trouble really at any age potentially. And then, of course, the 70 and 80-year-olds, they're the ones getting bumped off the most. I think the most recent number I saw was 16% chance of, bad outcome or death. So definitely that older population. What's interesting, though, is the youngers. There's been no issues, to my knowledge, under the age of 9, where usually it's the really young and the really old you watch out for. And I remember SARS a little bit, too. You bring that up, and that was back in the early 2000s. I was just in high school at the time. All I really remember from that was people wearing masks,
That's it.
And that was kind of the biggest thing. It didn't stick around too long in the sense of, getting plastered everywhere and lockdowns. I don't remember any of this. It was just kind of like, this is a severe acute respiratory syndrome. And obviously there was some probably mild quarantines and measures taken, but nothing like this, nothing to this global pandemic scale. So I think what's different with this one is the amount of spread and how rapid it's been across the whole world. They're calling this exponential growth, right? Where it's like, if you remember back to math class, it's a lot more than 1 + 1, right? It rapidly accelerates the spread. And so what we're trying to do right now is limit how many people get it at any one time. I mean, the question is, for a lot of people, maybe not if, but when. And we're just trying to offload the system so that not everyone is sick at the same time. So that's probably a term people have heard, is that flatten the curve, right? Where if everyone's sick and needing medical attention right now, they have to pick and choose who gets it. They don't have enough beds and supplies to look after people. And if we can spread this out over weeks and months, or in our case, just not spread it to other people, that is kind of the main goal right now. But as I mentioned earlier, that's great. Send people home, watch the social contact, et cetera, et cetera. But what are we doing to strengthen our bodies, make them more resilient, and really, prevent this stuff from taking hold? And if it does, you can fight it off effectively. Like, nobody's talking that narrative except me and my naturopathic colleagues. So that's really where I am coming in right now. And just like I said, more eyes on social media now than ever. So that's where I'm at.
Okay, so everything that I hear about this, it reminds me of the common flu. You know what I'm saying? So you got a stuffy nose, you got a cough, maybe you got a headache, you're not feeling great. It sounds like the fucking flu. Now, could this kind of situation with COVID-19 or coronavirus, from what I understand, it might not be able to survive in a warmer climate?
Yeah, there's definitely some stuff bouncing around about that.
So could this be something where, like, instead of flu season, we're getting corona season from now on? Like...
Boy, I sure hope not. I mean, we'll know more as it unfolds because we're coming into warmer weather, right?
Yeah.
And if you look historically, in warm places or the summer, there's almost never a flu season or a flu outbreak. Like, you just won't see it, right? And that's why a lot of people talk about vitamin D, the summer, sunshine. You almost never see flu outbreaks, and certainly never called the flu season if it's hot or it's summertime wherever that place is. So now that we're coming into March, the days are longer, more sun. We'll see how it progresses. It's actually a very good point you bring up. I don't know if anyone knows deep down, right? There's a lot of theories out there, and what are the timelines going to look like? Is it, they're talking 2 weeks to close everything down, but it's like, that might just be getting started from the people I'm talking to. We could, 4 weeks conservatively. Some people are saying 4 to 6 months. So we'll see how it rolls out. And if it just kind of goes right into summer, then maybe it is that kind of corona season you're alluding to.
Yeah.
This might be a different beast, man. I'm not sure anybody really knows the answer to that.
So here's another question that I've had is, how does things like this happen? Because we've had measles, smallpox, the flu, a cold, AIDS, HIV. They've all come from something. So did some asshole fumble a test? It's 2020. Did some asshole fumble a test tube in a lab? And I have no idea.
No, I know, and that's definitely one of the theories. Well, didn't they say it was from bats, or it originated in bats and
that's
animals?
What they say, but
right?
They say some guy diddled a fucking monkey and got AIDS.
Well, totally, right? So I think there's a lot of conspiracy theories, there's a lot of debates, there's a lot of people can't quite agree, like, where did this start? Was it a lab that was conducting studies and creating this stuff synthetically? Like, dude, if you start digging into it and subscribe to that conspiracy theory angle, you're going to start reading some stuff and you're just going to go, like, you almost don't know what reality is anymore. It gets very distorted. Yeah. And boy, man, you sure hope, like you said, at 2020 that, like, for the sake of humanity, that slips like this aren't just like, oh, whoops, are bad. Like, it can't be that simple. You hope there's more layers to it and that there's no ulterior motives or anything like that going on. But yeah, that's definitely obviously on some people's minds, because it's weird that it could skid that that much out of control in this amount of time. I mean, it's been 4 or 5 months. I think it was first discovered November, December, and we're talking March now, and it's like it's fucking everywhere, for lack of a better word.
Well, my first thought was like, hey man, like, there's been some bullshit going on between America and pretty well everybody else in the world. What better way to get back at Americans and not actually do it to America, but do it to another country where a lot of Americans frequent? That was my first thought. I was like, oh, fuck, God damn it.
100%. It's almost like, in this case, medical warfare to a lesser extent, warfare. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I could appreciate that perspective. What's funny, too, I've noticed is, what were we talking about 4 months ago? We were talking about the brush fires, right? We were talking about riots in Hong Kong, presidential election, that plane went down in Iran or Iraq or wherever it was.
It's very convenient.
And now nobody's talking about any of that, man. That's all been completely silenced. It's almost like, did the powers that be just drop the hammer and say, like, enough, like, we want full control of everyone? It's an eerie feeling, but man, a lot's changed in a few weeks, and all of a sudden all our freedoms, everything we've come to know and love and be able to do freely without a second thought, all that's been completely taken. almost overnight, right?
Yeah.
No sports, no entertainment, no leaving the country, borders closed, locked down in your homes. And we have it pretty good in Canada because there's not military in the streets kicking our ass if we leave our house. But that's a thing that my buddy who works at the ER said is a bit of an issue because they've told people to go home in Canada and stay at home. But if people don't actually take that seriously and do it, it's not going to offload the system. He's like, in the time they've told people to stay home, he's like, I haven't seen it lessen our load at all at the emergency room. In fact, it's getting worse because people try house arrest for a couple days and then guess what? They get bored.
Yeah.
And before you know it, they're hanging out wherever in groups, or they go to the mall, or they're still going to the movies. And I know a lot of that stuff's starting to get shut down, but in the last 2 weeks when they've been suggesting people do that, no one's really been following it through. So yeah, man, it's pretty crazy. And it's weird. The stuff we used to think was news, all that's been completely silenced.
Well, here's the biggest problem is people are coming back from trips, and I know this for a fact because I was in Walmart and I heard this dumb lady talking about it. She came back from California on Friday. She was told, coronavirus is running rampant. Can you please go home and quarantine yourself for 14 days? Where the fuck does that dumb idiot go 10 minutes after being in town? Walmart.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm supposed to be on lockdown, but I ain't got no food. I was like, bitch, you know they deliver, right?
Yep.
Go home.
And this, yeah, I know this is a perfect example of where we're breaking down, that the recommendations are being given and advised, but are people really doing it? And I would say a large chunk of people are not. And I'm not saying I'm perfect either. I certainly haven't been perfect with this, but yeah. I mean, you understand how people can slip up and not do this 100%. And that's definitely just throwing gas on the fire right now.
It's not helping anything. Okay, let's wrap this Corona talk up because it's fucking crazy. But if there's any tips, top 5 tips you could give people to just stay healthy while this thing's going on, what would it be? Yeah,
so my immune boosting posts that I've been ranting about for the last couple of weeks, I'll just touch on some highlights of those there. We touched on vitamin D already, so I won't go there, but vitamin A also showing to be very antiviral. I commonly give it to people at the first sign of a scratchy throat. It works very well in preventing the adherence to the back of the throat, and you can sometimes almost head it off at the pass. So high dose vitamin A, not beta carotene, but high dose vitamin A, the active form, very good antiviral immune system remedy. We are using in the clinic right now high dose vitamin C. You can take oral vitamin C. However, you can only absorb so much of it at a time, meaning eventually you'll get bowel tolerance and have what's called disaster pants. So once you hit that 6 to 8 gram, once you get to 6 to 8 grams orally in a day, you'll just have diarrhea and loose bowels. So we can circumvent that by using an IV access and give people 15, 20, 25 grams of vitamin C. It's been shown reliably useful against all the past flus and viruses you were alluding to, like swine, H1N1, influenzas. They'll work really well and respond to high-dose vitamin C therapy. Now, that's currently being tested in Korea and China. They're using it in the hospitals to treat coronavirus. There's studies being done to see how efficacious it is, so we'll know more on that very soon. I'm going to do a live webinar on Thursday night with one of my elder doctors. It's going to be all about high-dose vitamin C. So if anything could potentially be a big treatment option, high-dose vitamin C is one. So that's what we use regularly at our clinic. Again, I'm not driving corona patients to my door right now. They should be going to testing facilities, hospitals, etc. So if people are actively sick, we're not supposed to be treating them. However, if this really starts to skid out of control, high-dose vitamin C is a big one. There were some other things I put in my immune boosting posts. Medicinal mushrooms, reishi, shiitake, maitake, they have what's called beta-D glucans in them, and those actually increase your bone marrow production of red cells and white cells. And white blood cells are what make up our immune system, the cells that circulate our body. So with these medicinal mushrooms, you can cook with them, you can take them medicinally, and they will help boost your immune system at the bone marrow level. So very, very good option as well. I'm also getting people to take a lot of zinc and selenium. Those are cofactors you need for your immune system. Glutathione is another powerful antioxidant that is very antiviral, and it helps increase energy, improve athletic performance. It's great for turning the brain on and just overall mental cognition, but a very good sort of immune booster because we create it in our bodies, but when we're sick and fighting stuff, we go through it a lot faster. So you can replenish your levels orally with various supplements, as well as we'll do that one by intravenous as well. Now, some lifestyle stuff, because I'm not just saying take supplements and you're all good. You have to go, what harms the immune system and what boosts my immune system from a lifestyle and day-to-day standpoint. So sleep is a big one. If you're getting less than 7 hours a night, you are demolishing your immune system right now, okay? That is when your gut patches and repairs itself when you sleep, and that's where most of your immune cells are, along your digestive tract and gut. If you're not sleeping 7 hours a night, you're totally shooting yourself in the foot. Another big one is sugar. Every time you take sugar in your system, whether it's added or from too much fruit or dried fruit or you're juicing, any sugar load on the system drops your white blood cells. If you don't have enough white blood cells circulating, you can't fight infections, okay? So limiting sugar is a huge one. Also limiting alcohol. Now, I know you guys balked at me a little bit in the intro because you're like, come on, man, we're on house arrest. The kids are going crazy. I need a beer or a glass of wine. I understand all that, and I'm not taking any of that away from you, but the recommendation stands because if you research alcohol in the immune system, it tanks the immune system. You also won't get deep, restful sleep after you consume alcohol. You'll fall asleep well. You won't have a deep, restful sleep, however. And then back to my point about sleep, that kind of wrecks the immune system, and on we go. We touched on this also in the intro. You got to open a window. Make sure you open a window and get some air in your place, okay? Don't just be confined thinking, oh my God, I have to keep the windows and door shut. Like, open the window, get some fresh air. If you can go out on the deck and get sunshine, that will help increase your vitamin D, because then the sun will hit your skin. You twist cholesterol in the skin, it converts to vitamin D, and so on. Some very important things there. Lots of hydration as well, okay? Immune system doesn't function properly if you're dry and dehydrated. And I find most people don't consume enough water. So across the board, unless you have a kidney issue, I usually go with 1 liter per 50 pounds body weight per day. Again, a non-negotiable. People like to say, oh, I'm going to be in the washroom all the time. So be it. Your kidneys and system will adapt. Super, super important, okay? The other thing is, too, and not a lot of people talk about, is the stress and anxiety of what's coming in your head will directly impact your immune system, because if you're running on adrenaline and cortisol and stress hormones all the time, your immune system function completely tanks. So you need to stay informed. I understand that, but I don't want people to be inundated with so much shit in their news feed that is causing them stress, worry, anxiety, hype, hysteria, and everything in between. All that does is it makes your system less resilient, okay, at a very basic level. Less resilient because of what's coming in. So you need to make sure that your social media feeds are not toxic. You need to make sure that you're not just glued to CNN and Fox 5 News. Again, I know you have to stay informed, but those are not compatible with good health. If you pump nothing but that in there, you are going to be in for a world of hurt, okay? And then your subconscious mind is going to go to work when you sleep and tell you that this world's a really big, bad, ugly, scary place, and you're doomed. And that's not the message you want to send the cells to your body right now. It's simply not the message you want to send. So take that to heart and realize that, okay, I need to stay informed with a few main outlets, but I'm not going to get poisoned to death with all this bullshit, okay? It's super, super important.
We'll get off this subject, but COVID-19, coronavirus, just do what people are telling you to do. Don't be getting in groups of fucking 250 people tonight, whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
Do your social distancing. Don't touch people. Don't touch your face. Don't cough on people. Don't be a fucking asshole and steal all the toilet paper from Walmart. Leave some for somebody else. When things like this happen in the planet, this is a time that humans probably should come together. Not within arm's reach, obviously, but we should be trying to help each other out instead of pushing people at Walmart because there's only one thing of toilet paper left. Motherfucker, you need a roll of toilet paper? I'll give you one.
Right.
But let's just stop being dicks.
100%. Yeah. Now more than ever, we need to support each other and come together. It's, we're all in this together, and this is not like, me over you. It's everyone's equally important in this scenario, and we need to support each other through that.
Yeah. I'm not Mel Gibson, and this isn't Mad Max. So let's not go that far. Next subject. I asked you a little while ago to send me a video that you posted on your Instagram, and it was, is meat the new superfood?
Yes. I did. We talked about that. Yeah.
I love that video because I don't want to say that I hate vegans, because I don't. But I don't understand it because almost all the vegans that I know look sickly.
Okay.
Okay.
And I just like, I don't understand why people, the fucking animals. I get it. Some
Yeah.
people treat animals badly, but it doesn't mean
Yep.
that you shouldn't eat them. Like if we just let all the animals run wild on the planet, we'd be fucked.
And I can jump right in on that and say it doesn't matter what diet you choose in this world, animals unfortunately will die. A side effect of that will be animal death. There's deforestation. When you look at monocrops and a lot of the vegan and vegetarian foods and the places they need to grow them, that displaces and kills animals all the time. Now, I don't know the numbers one-to-one to compare, but just as a very broad message to people, it doesn't matter what you eat and what you consume every day. Animals, unfortunately, as sad as it is, because I love animals, they'll die. That's part of it, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But where I find people get into a bit of a conundrum is when they put the health of someone else above their own.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is because if you don't operate at 100%, so take a mom, for example, that has three kids as a responsibility. If her health is not 100%, that household doesn't function properly, and the kids suffer, and everyone suffers because of that. But if she's 100%, then she can show up 100% for them. And when you say, oh, I want to eat a certain way to make sure this animal lives, what you're indirectly saying is your health doesn't matter. And it's a wrong message to be giving your body and everyone around you. Your health matters, and you have to show up a healthy, functioning person in society, I believe. And the best way to do that is nourish yourself with the right foods, okay? Your point on a lot of them looking sickly, quite often it's done wrong. When I find I have vegans and vegetarians come to my practice, is they're not doing it properly, right? There's certain foods that are missing, there's certain nutrients that are missing, and they look emaciated, it's called, right? Like the tissues and the skin and the muscles and all that starts to get eaten because the body is looking for it. So if it needs proteins, it'll just break down your muscle to get amino acids. And your skin and hair and nails is all collagen based, right? That comes from eating meats and bone broths and soups and all that kind of stuff. So I find I'm quite often having to tell people, hey, you've been doing it for a while. Obviously, you're in my office for a reason. We need to change gears here and add some essential protein back in. Again, I don't need everyone to be a carnivore, a paleo, or a keto, or whatever you want to label it these days. Obviously, everyone's individual. And at the end of the day, I don't care. If people want to go a certain way, then that's absolutely their choice. But when people come to me with a question and want my expert opinion, I get right down to it, and I just tell it to them like I see it. The reason I said meat is a superfood, and I wish somebody told me this years ago, is because I always knew deep down that it was good, and we would have roasts and steaks and stuff growing up. So within my household, it was never an issue for me to consume meat. It was always readily available. But I started studying not just the protein content of meat, but the micronutrients in it as well. And that's where a lot of people don't know what's actually in meat. And why wouldn't I just eat chicken? It's got less fat and it's better for me. And, I've been told all my life this is a chicken-centric society, so I'll probably just keep doing that. Like red meat's bad for you. It causes, cancer and heart disease and colon problems. And I just started peeling it all back. And the big guy I want to tip my cap to is Stan Efferding, the Vertical Diet.
Okay.
He is the world's strongest powerlifter, bodybuilder, powerlifter. The guy's strong as nails. I saw him talk at the Swiss conference in Toronto, which is the strength and weightlifting symposium for injuries. And he was talking all about his vertical diet and the power of meat. And he broke down the micronutrients for me. And I learned there's a ton of good stuff in meat that you won't find in chicken, and find in turkey, and find in fish. None of those nutrients, not none, but there's way less. They just don't show up in the same amount in those other foods. So yeah, you could argue the protein intake on those foods per gram, if you were to measure it, is all the same, but the micronutrients are super important. So meat has iron, it has heme iron, which means you have transporters in your body that just absorb that like nothing. It doesn't need to be bound to anything. It doesn't need to be passed through the gut lining in a difficult way. It just comes in freely. Heme iron, okay? And for those of you that don't know, iron deficiency in women is one of the most common problems in the world. Wow. Not just in Canada and America, but iron deficiency anemia, if you Google it, one of the most common diseases worldwide. Iron comes from meat in a heme form is one of the best ways to get those iron levels up because it comes through the gut lining effortlessly. Meat also has vitamin B12 in it, okay? Not a lot of foods have B12. That's the number one source is going to be red meat. Methylcobalamin. It's the cobalamins in meat that you absolutely need, and that's one of the other powerful nutrients in there. It also has carnosine, carnitine, creatine. These are some things maybe people have heard before, right? Creatine is a popular strength and weightlifting supplement. So I just take 5 grams a day. I recommend most people do, but creatine is largely found in red meat. Carnitine, that's one of the most popular. There you go. Good man. Yeah. And it doesn't need to be fancy, guys. Like 5 grams German micronized creatine once a day. Easy, cheap, inexpensive, works awesome. I recommend that across the board. So carnitine is another one. L-carnitine is a popular fat-burning supplement, right? It helps move fatty acids into the mitochondria. You can create energy from it, and that's found in meat. What they're finding in people with major depressive disorders, they have low levels of carnitine. And a lot of major depressive disorders can be secondary to a vegan and vegetarian diet that's devoid of carnitine, that doesn't have enough amino acids to make your neurotransmitters. And they start giving these patients carnitine, and they start feeling better. Their mood improves.
Wow.
So it's just crazy, man. Zinc, magnesium, also micronutrients that are found in meat. And again, when you look at the white meats, the chicken, the duck, the turkey, they're great. I don't mind them, but I think meat tastes better and has a much better nutrient profile. And since adding it more into my regime, my athleticism and fitness has gone up. I've been able to help a lot of patients feel better, because when I detect their diet is low in meat, I right away tell them, hey, I'd like you to add 3 to 4 ounces 3 times a week. It's not every day. I don't need them chucking a steak back every single day, but medicinally, I'm finding when I use meat with patients 3-4 times a week, kind of an every other day thing, they start to feel way better, and you start to correct so many problems, because all those micronutrients I just went through hit on so many systems. You fix fatigue issues, you help them recover better, the depression goes away. It just goes on, man, and it's just from one thing.
So some people that have switched to a vegetarian diet or a vegan diet, they have children, and their children are adopting this vegan vegetarian thing. Is that healthy for an adolescent?
Is not what I would recommend the best option for a growing body and a growing brain in particular. We didn't touch too much on fish, but if you look at what a growing brain needs, it needs a lot of omega-3 fatty acids, right? And the vegan and vegetarian diets are typically void of that. Now, some people might argue and say, well, no, I can get my omega-3s from flax seeds, or I get them from walnuts. But if you look at what happens is that comes in as an inactive form of omega-3, and then you have to convert it, which is a really poorly done step. The conversion rate is like 4% or some stupid thing. So the amount you take and actually get in active EPA and DHA omega-3 fatty acids is almost negligible, in my opinion. And the growing brain needs lots of DHA. That's why there's that phenomenon called baby brain in moms, because quite literally when they're growing a baby, the baby takes a lot of her DHA, which is the omega-3 fatty acid. So it actually takes it from her to build the blueprint of their central nervous system and brain. And then as they're growing and that brain's developing, yes, they need lots of meat. They need lots of fish oil or omega-3 fatty acids from other sources. And there's been a lot of cases, unfortunately, of malnutrition in kids where the parents have failed to give them what they need during those critical growth periods. Very critical. And then you get failure to thrive, right? And you get weird things happening in kids that shouldn't be there. And that's very tough to read those cases. Now, obviously, these are rare for the most part, but you hear about them and you see them, and it's definitely documented. It's absolutely a thing. And so I'm not bashing parents. I know we always deep down have the best interest for the kids in mind. That said, kids, I think, need lots of protein, lots of omega-3 fatty acids, B12, all those nutrients I just hit on. Like, if they're not getting that, then something's wrong.
Well, here's a question for you then, because my wife and I, we just had a kid. He's 5 months old now, but during her during her pregnancy, she had a hard time ingesting red meat. It didn't agree with her. She couldn't stand the smell of it. Now we ended up supplementing with some different things, very clean protein powders and amino acids. But what are some people that are out there that might not be hip to sports supplements or whatever that they could use instead of a meat?
Yeah. So just let me grab it here.
Oh shit!
Welcome to my supplement stack.
Dr.
So
Drew, I didn't even tell him I was going to ask this question.
no, but it's a good thing to bring up because protein powders for the most part are either plant-based or whey, right?
Yes.
It's either going to be like a rice or a pea protein on the vegan vegetarian side, and then you have your whey protein powders, right? Now in our world we deal with a lot of dairy issues, whether it's lactose intolerance or an immune system issue to the whey or to the casein. There's like a flat-out allergy or sensitivity. Yeah. So on the market as of last couple of years is a hydrolyzed beef protein. Carnivore? So this is the one I use.
Pure paleo.
And it's called Pure Paleo Protein, and it's hydrolyzed beef powder. And everyone I've given this to loves the flavor because at first they're like, that sounds like a powdered steak. That sounds pretty damn gross. Why would I want to eat that in a powder or drink it in a powder form? And man, they've hit a home run because it tastes good. There's a chocolate flavor in there. Once you shake it up, digests, absorbs really easily. And so for my dairy intolerant patients, that's what I move them to because I hate with a passion, and this is my certain bias here, I don't love the peas, the rice, cranberry proteins, the hemp proteins. I find it's like drinking a glass of water with sand in it. It just doesn't dissolve. Right. And at the end of the day, I think those are not the best proteins for replenishing your protein intake or post-workout and stuff like that. I like the complete proteins, the whey or the hydrolyzed beef. It's just my preference, and that's kind of where I go with it. But that is a really good option. I'll also use because liver. We're talking about meat. If you actually look at liver, it by ounce has way more nutrients than beef. Yeah. Now most people hate the taste of liver. They don't know how to prepare it. It's very much an acquired taste. So I have these as well. They're called Perfect Desiccated Liver Capsules. So what they've done is they've taken liver and they've cooked it up, and then they've created a powder out of it and capsulated it. And from there you get all the benefits of liver, like vitamin A, iron, B12, amino acids. Because liver, if I was really being more specific, liver would be the superfood and beef would be right beneath it. But those are some strategies I use with my anemic patients or people that I don't feel are eating enough meat and getting enough protein. Hydrolyzed beef powder and the desiccated liver capsules have been pretty nice additions to my practice.
If anybody out there is looking for an alternative to that meat protein powder that they can't find it in their town, Dimetized actually makes a carnivore protein powder, which is very good. I've had
nice.
It tastes fantastic.
And send me the link on that. I'd like to check that out because I don't know of too many. There's just kind of, it's new to the scene, right?
There's a couple of them. I'll send you the links to the ones I know about. If you have a Supplement King in your town, they do sell them there.
Okay, sounds good.
What was the other question I was going to fucking ask?
I got lots of questions.
Derek's got questions for you. Producer Derek, fucking.
Hello, Drew.
Hey, Derek.
I was while I was researching the podcast, a couple things came up. We've talked about the coronavirus a little bit. We talked about the diet stuff. I like to do mind gym stuff. Something for your head. And two things came up that I want to reference right now. When I was in grade 8, my dad gave me a 6 tape cassette personal development book audio program called The Science of Self-Confidence by Brian Tracy.
Okay.
And I believe, and I may be wrong, that when I was researching for this podcast that you referenced Brian Tracy, you met him.
Oh. I did. Dude, he's one of my heroes.
Okay, good. So we're on the same wavelength. And then in that same post, you referenced another gentleman that my brother recommended me to. I'm going to say his name wrong, but maybe you can help me fill it out. Elliot Huss. Say the name for me. Hulse. Are you
Elliot Hulse?
Right. His YouTube channel was very, very similar in terms of male or development, muscle development, bodybuilding, that kind of stuff. I was wondering, maybe you could maybe go a little deeper on both Brian Tracy and your relationship with Elliot.
Sure. Yeah, so both two of my, I want to say, mentors, heroes. I've had the pleasure of meeting them both and working with them over the years. Obviously met them both through just the online channels, their YouTube channels. I found Brian because of Elliot, because Elliot went basically from zero to hero. And of course, what looked like overnight, when you actually meet him and hear his story and follow his journey, that guy built his entire, whatever you want to call it, empire from scratch, right? Living out of his car. He's a father of 4. He built this amazing following online with YouTube videos, and I was always well entertained by them, but he gave away a ton of free knowledge. So if there's anything I learned from Elliot is to just do that, right? Like share freely, give people good content, help as many people as you can, be accessible. All those things he did for me is a lot of, pieces that I've taken from him that I use in my life now. I've done grounding camps with him. I've done strength camps with him because he used to work in a gym in, where was it now? Just in Florida, just outside Orlando there, St. Petersburg. So yeah, I've flown there a couple times to work out at his gym and do seminars with him. I bought all his books.
Oh, cool.
So, if anyone is teaching guys how to be men in this world, it's Elliot Hulse, because through the things he studied and the content he puts out, he makes a pretty good argument that masculinity is obviously being lost. It's a lost art. The transition from boy to man is completely gone in our society, in my opinion. And for the most part, a lot of men have softened a lot. And so the masculinity and space he holds and how he helps people find their identity, become a man, become a father, become a leader in their community, all those things that he stands for and helps people with has been immensely helpful to me. And so much so that's why I said I went and had a seminar with him and had to meet him and just thank him. Just what I said right there. I was like, I literally was just like, man, you've changed my life. You changed my life. And I want to thank you for that. And because all his YouTube stuff is free. And I'm like, I want to pay you back for it. Like,
sure,
this is goodwill he's built up. And I was like, I want to hit you back for it. Now, in one of his videos, he said there was an audiobook that changed his life. And if anybody out there is in a rut and is looking for a life-changing audiobook, he recommended Brian Tracy, The Luck Factor. And I just loved and respected Elliot so much at the time. He said, I have listened to The Luck Factor 4 times, and that is the main reason I was able to turn my life around from living out of my car to all the stuff I have now, the amazing following, the amazing family, all the achievements. He said, The Luck Factor by Brian Tracy. And I was like, shit, man, if Elliot says that, I got nothing to lose. So I went online, grabbed The Luck Factor. I probably listened to it about 4 or 5 times now since 2015. It's kind of one of those yearly things I listen to.
Sure.
Absolutely game-changing, life-changing. And just to give you a synopsis of what it's about, it's just about how to be the best possible person and the best possible version of yourself. Brian talks about all these little things. And man, when you add them up, big changes. I wouldn't have the relationship I have with my girlfriend right now. I never would have met her. She never would have looked at me. All the self-development stuff in that Luck Factor is crazy. My professional life has gone way up because of it. It teaches you how to communicate with people and just be an awesome all-around person. Stuff that they don't teach you in school. Stuff that should be part of the curriculum for everyone growing up. He distilled it down into this, I want to say, 12-chapter audiobook. And the cool thing with Brian is he studied what's called neurolinguistics.
Right.
And for people that don't know what that word means, it means talking in a certain way where the tones of your voice go up and down gently enough that it almost becomes like a hypnosis. Now, I don't want to say that word as like he's hypnotizing you, but when you speak and you're trained with neurolinguistics, it helps drive it deeper into your brain when you listen to it. Obviously, when we listen to someone who's monotone and boring, we're not going to remember that, right?
Sure.
But Brian has learned how to talk in a way that deliver messages that actually stick to your brain. And when you listen to it, it's like it drives it deep. And then it sticks, and you can actually retain the information, use it, all that fun stuff. So Brian Tracy, man, he is an absolute, he's a game changer. So I knew he was talking out in Langley in the Fraser Valley at a real estate convention, and the only people that could go were real estate agents with an active license. Now, of course, that excluded me, but I called up my real estate agent buddy, and I said, we need to get tickets to this event. Just tell them I'm your whatever, your right-hand man, your secretary. I'm like, I need to get in that room with them. Got in that room with them, listened to the whole lecture, recorded it, and then there was a meet and greet after, and it was like, man, it made my day to at least get there and thank him for changing my life and just all the stuff he gave me through his work. Now, he's an author of over like 70 books. He's spoken probably half the countries in this world. He's a good Canadian guy too, and so I love supporting our own. And so Brian Tracy, I can't say if you guys are looking for someone to give you direction, pick you up, or when things are bad, now's the time where listening to his stuff would be very good, because it would help you reframe everything that's going on.
Okay, thank you. That's it. And I guess the other part I wanted to mention was going through your Instagram, which we've mentioned a few times on the podcast. Is please add Dr. Drew here. We lost him.
He shut his video off.
Sorry.
He's doing something.
No, I just had to check a message.
Your last trip was to Egypt, so I guess we're not doing any more traveling, right?
No, and that's been a big part of my life for the last 2 years. We've gone on some fantastic trips, and Egypt was right up there. But, if we had been 2 weeks later, we would have got caught in all of this. We got home just in time.
Sorry, I lied. The carnivore protein is by Muscle Meds.
Okay. Well, yeah, just send me the link. I'd like to look it up. I like to know all the options, yeah.
Okay. So Egypt, nothing going on over there,
right? Dude, you guys, when all this, the smoke clears, definitely go to Egypt. That was, like I said, I've done some great trips in the last 2 years. Egypt was top notch, man. So much fun. And, I feel like growing up, I was told, don't go to the Middle East. It's dangerous there. Warning, caution. And I feel a bit lied to in a little way, because having gone there, they're beautiful people. They love tourists. They were extremely welcoming. All that fear crap I was fed, I didn't feel any of it. I mean, the amount of security there, they look after you. Beautiful monuments, amazing history and culture. I was blown away. It exceeded my expectations, and it was a very, very special trip because, I don't know, I think I was an Arab in a past life or something, because I just love the Middle East.
That's cool.
Dr. Drew, I was going to throw you under the bus today, and I was going to ask you a lot of hard-hitting questions about steroids in sports.
Sure.
People with their sex changes and how that transfers over. I'm going to fucking throw that out the window.
Thank you.
You've been walking by this goddamn Tom Brady jersey for the last 5 minutes, and it's driving me nuts. Because Tom Brady's 43 fucking years old, and he's not going to play with the New England Patriots anymore. He's been there 20 years. He's throwing the relationship out the window, and he's going to sign with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Oh, wow.
Complete bullshit. I love football. I love sports. I love Tom Brady, and I've been watching him since I was a kid. And to think it's been 20 plus years of that, why would you not just want to go out with a bang and be retired there, put the number up in the stands and call it a day? Why the hell is he going to Tampa Bay? Like what the? I mean, is John Gruden still there? Well, no, who's still there? Is Gruden still there? Who's the coach there?
I'm not.
No, Gruden's Oakland. Who's the coach there?
We can look it up.
Like, what's
he's
the
not
point
Oakland anymore. He's Vegas.
Oh, Vegas. That's right. They're moving. But it's like, this is crazy. You know what else blew my mind is that a sports transaction like that went on today.
There was a couple went on today. There was another big one that happened. The NFL's not fucking around. They don't give a flying. They don't care about.
They don't give a shit. It's also St. Patrick's Day, and nobody gives a fuck.
Shit. No, nobody cares. Oh, yeah. So we got a Super Bowl winner this year that hasn't won the Super Bowl since fucking coming of time. Kansas City Chiefs. But the biggest news in the NFL in the last year is Tom Brady's not going to play with the New England Patriots anymore.
Yeah, it's pretty sad. I don't know what that's about. I know for years there's been issues with him and Belichick and rumors that they don't get along. I mean, but at the end of the day, they just still win games, and they had another great season despite not having much of a team around them. I don't know. I think it's a package deal. I think it's a package deal. Without Tom and Bill, it's like that combo just proved to be lethal for so long. Like, I don't know, man. We'll see. I mean, the guy's brilliant, but yeah, he's going to be another year older, and don't count him out yet. I mean, that's what people have been doing his whole life.
Did you see this guy try to run last year? It was terrifying.
Well, it's very, very bad. Yeah, I wouldn't expect him to carry it much.
He's so banged up. I'm surprised his wife isn't harping on him. Like, there's no secret that Brady's had a buttload of concussions.
Yeah. And he's taken some hits over the years, no question. He's tough as nails, though, too, right? I got to give him that. Like,
Tom,
because he was from that era where those guys were tough.
Tom, put on the Uggs and go home.
Oh God.
I know. This can't last more than a year.
Maybe he's gonna back up or something like that, and like help out a young buck.
Yeah, maybe. He's going for the money and the start, and I don't know. Hopefully he's not delusional and they're gonna put some players around him, but we'll see.
Well, he's pulling
Tampa
a Brett
Bay.
Favre.
So what about? Yeah, like this is crazy.
Yeah, Tampa Bay of all places, the Buccaneers. Why?
So they have a really nice stadium, mind you. That's one of the few other NFL stadiums I've been to. They have a damn pirate ship in the stands, okay? So it's like they blast a cannon off when they score. It's actually kind of cool because with the nice outdoor climate in Florida, really nice stadium there.
Bro, this isn't Pirates of the Caribbean.
I know, but it's cool.
I could understand it. New England, the weather's probably not the greatest. Florida's going to be nice.
It's nice there.
Sun's out, guns out. I get it. But you could have
Vitamin D, everything we've been talking about.
Vitamin D's nuts. well, here's the problem: is Tom is going to be 43 years old. How much money do you need?
All of it, I guess.
How much money has he spent though? That's the better question.
I know, it's crazy. But doesn't his lady makes a good clip too, so they'll be fine.
I'm guessing, like. Hey, if you got,
I'm guessing they're pretty recession proof.
Yeah, I guess. But I seen the Tom Brady jersey. I had to bring it up because it came through on my phone today. I was like, shit, man, really? You're going to throw out 20 years?
Yeah, that's what it's looking like right now.
And just
it's almost like what Brett Favre did, right? You know, seeing him in a Vikings and a Jets jersey, it just wasn't the same.
It was weird. And he wasn't the same playing.
No, I mean, he had one good year in Minnesota. I think they went to the NFC title game. But, I mean, other than that, it was just a crappy sort of last couple seasons.
Do you think this could be a thing where he doesn't want to retire with the most hated team in the NFL?
But he's built his whole career on being a villain with Belichick in a way. So it's like, why wouldn't you just ride that?
Listen, not everybody wants to be a heel for their whole life. Maybe he wants to go be a babyface over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and ride off.
Well, he's about to get that.
I guess.
Get that.
Hey, I would have retired on Deflategate and took that to the bank.
Oh, man. Yeah, there's a lot of asterisks beside him. But you know what? At the end of the day, I'm a sports fan. And to do good in sports, you got to win. And he's won a ton. So I can't argue. Can't argue with that.
You're a former football guy with the Boogeyman, right?
Yes. We used to play together, train together. This is way back in like summer of 2003. Yeah. He was at what school down there in Washington?
Washington State.
Yeah, and then I was at Simon Fraser University in Canada here playing the Canadian ball and system. And yeah, so we go way back, me and Adam.
So when you see a guy like Gronkowski who's retired early, he was fucking huge a year ago. He's not so big anymore.
I saw one of those pictures. He's like withered away to nothing.
What is that, bro?
Pretty crazy. What is that? Well, I'm not sure what extracurriculars he was taking, but chances are he's not taking his training as serious anymore. Probably less weightlifting, less eating, all of that. But yeah, that was a pretty fast deflate on his part. Like I saw one picture and I couldn't even believe that was his arm and shoulder. Like it was right? Half of what it was, it seemed. Yeah. So I don't know if that was photoshopped or if there's been several of these documented, but that is crazy. But there's a guy who probably had one too many shots. He was turning into the Bionic Man, right?
Yeah.
You know, his back, his elbow. Like we saw him on that. What was that one play he had to make? They're playing Miami. I think it was the last play of the game, and Miami was doing the hook and ladder. And for whatever reason, they had Gronkowski as the last man back, and he simply could not move, could not run. It was probably the most embarrassing play of his career, and I think he was the first to mention or at least point that out. It was brutal, right? It was like so young, so much talent, but deteriorated really fast. And when they make the money they do, I guess at the end of the day, you got to make a business decision and go, hey, I still got like 60 years left here. I better make something of it.
Well, Gronkowski also played that game where there was take no prisoners either.
Sure.
It's either do or die, and he chose to go to the bitter end. And
yeah,
when you look at his physique, though, even when he was in peak physical form in the NFL, he wasn't like a huge muscle-bound dude. He's very tall. His limbs are very long.
He's just got that frame to support it.
Yeah, but his deflation was very abrupt and fast, which made me think
very abrupt.
I seen him doing a thing for MTV where he's hosting something and said that, oh, it's Gronkowski. I was like, bullshit.
Doesn't look like him.
Because he was huge, but
yeah.
Hey, now it looks like we're probably not going to get the NFL this year. Or
No?
CFL. I highly doubt it, not unless they're going to play in empty stadiums.
Yeah. Well,
Which
CFL is definitely more of an immediate risk. What do they usually get going in May, June, right?
Pretty quick here, yeah. The training camp's
Yeah.
supposed to start here in a couple weeks, so.
Yeah. So, and what's funny is you mentioned the empty stadium thing. That was only ever a thought. That never actually happened because I got a buddy that works actually for the Sacramento Kings. We were supposed to go down there in 2 weeks to a game.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I got the tickets set aside for you. And then, of course, last week he said, oh, by the way, we're probably moving to playing in empty arenas. And I said, okay, no worries. We'll still come down. We don't have to go to the game. And before they even went to empty arenas, they just went to let's cancel everything. And so, man, did that happen quick. And it's the weirdest thing for sports fans to not have anything on the television in the last, what has it been now, week? Like, the only 2 days of no sports is usually like those 2 days in the summer, I think, after the baseball all-star game. There's like 1 or 2 days there where there's no major sports on. But other than that, every single day throughout the calendar year, there's usually one of the big 5 major sports on. And so we're living in some really weird Twilight Zone shit times right now. And who knows what the next seasons will be like, right? It's crazy. But now I asked my buddy who works for the Kings. It's still business as usual right now. He's busy as ever behind the scenes. They're still doing stuff. And I figured, like, are you just home right now? Like, you know, he works stats and analytics for them. But, yeah, like, it's still on as far as he knows. And he's like, yeah, man. He's like, I'm working every day. We got lots to do here still, even though the players are obviously off and there's no games happening right now.
Well, the only thing that makes more money than sports is organized religion. So they gotta keep the ball rolling, right? But UFC did an empty stadium, and WWF or WWE did an empty stadium show.
That was the craziest one I saw when WWE is like, yeah, we're just going to do WrestleMania. We'll pipe it into your TVs at home, and that's that. But I know a lot of people had exception to it because the guys feed off the energy of the crowd.
Yeah,
let's call
weird.
it what it is, right?
Yeah.
And the intros and the music and all that electric energy, that's gone when you just do some, at-home feed without anyone in the stands. Like, that is the weirdest thing to me. Now, obviously, Vince McMahon is doing something different, stepping outside the box with that. Who knows? But, yeah, I'm surprised that they are doing some of this right now. Because to maintain 6 feet from someone, you can't really be doing wrestling or UFC.
No. That's like trying to record a porno with no fucking boner pills. It just doesn't work.
Totally, right? I think they should just... They should probably just do reruns of some of the best games. I saw they were putting on like Stanley Cup games, Game 7s, that kind of stuff. Just, some old throwbacks of some good stuff. What can you do right now? I don't know.
Let's rerun
hard to
the
get excited
playoffs,
for
the
that.
Stanley Cup playoffs from 1993, and watch all of Canada get pissed off again as Wayne Gretzky
maybe not
fucked
that
over Doug
one.
Gilmore.
But no, not that one. They've been breaking my heart since '94. I can't do it as a Vancouver kid. I can't do it.
You can't. Well, what was the other one where they went to the Stanley Cup Finals and shit the bed?
Yeah, well, the 2011 against the Bruins, we were up 2-0, and we lose 4 out of 5. Like, just the bed shitting to remember. And our boy here was in net.
Luongo.
Yeah.
Where's he now? He's in Florida?
Yeah, last I know, unless he's retired. But yeah, no, I think he's been there the last couple of years.
Oh, good for him. At least he's in the Sunshine State getting all that vitamin D.
He's back where he started.
Yeah. All right, Dr. Drew, let's wrap this shit up. I'll let you go. What's it, 10 o'clock there now? You probably need to go to bed to get your at least minimum 7 hours.
You got it. Yeah, no, it's only 8 o'clock. We're good. But yeah, no, I appreciate you having me on, man. That was fun. Thank you.
Well, thank you for coming on. Hopefully this helps somebody that's maybe sitting at home but can't get out of their house on a 14-day lockdown. Maybe they got a laugh out of Tom Brady or Gronkowski or some bullshit we talked about. But there's some good facts you dropped today. Folks,
thank you.
Again, COVID-19, coronavirus, stay in the fucking house if you have to. Don't go outside. Don't spread this shit. Dr. Drew, any last words?
No, that's it, man. We covered it. Thanks again. And if anyone has questions or they want to follow me, my social media, Instagram is at drew.jamieson. That's drew.jamieson. Also a little bit on Facebook there, but the main one would be Instagram. And, if anyone needs help, has questions, I'm remaining open to people because I want people to know that they're not just left with this information and nothing to do with it. If they have concerns, I'm doing my best to support people through it.
And that's the final shot.